This episode of the podcast features Dungzin Garab Dorje Rinpoche, who is best known for leading large groups in the Chöd practice of Throma Nagmo from the Dudjom Rinpoche lineage. Rinpoche has a very special family tree, going back to the Dharma king Trisung Detsun, including some of the most highly regarded teachers of the last century. In this interview, Rinpoche talks about his early life in Bhutan, his training in India, a relationship with his father that evolved from one of resentment to complete devotion, how he went from overseeing a shack with a handful of students in East Bhutan to one of the most influential teachers in the country, leading us to this very moment. I'm your host, Ivan Berkholtz. So, welcome Rinpoche to our podcast. And I'd just like to start by asking Rinpoche to tell us a little bit about your early life, the village you're from, and your household growing up. Some early memories from that time.
Dear Ivan, thank you so much for creating this. First of all, let me say thank you so much for creating this kind of interviewing. It's, I don't know, it's beneficial to many people or not, but I'm very sure those people who are interested on me, Dudjom family, and I'm sure they are interested to listen. So for sure, who believe on me, my disciple, they will be happy to hear this interview. So thank you so much, Ivan, to creating this interview. Okay. You are asking about my childhood.
Yes, Rinpoche. Yes.
Okay. I really can't remember. I am now like 16. I have to go back to, 50 something. I have to go back there, which I can't remember. You see, actually, and officially, people believe that I born in Bhutan. Brekha, one of the place which built by my father. The village people offer to him in East Bhutan, Brekha. Officially, it says I born there. Actually, originally, I'm not very sure, but my mother said, and my auntie said, I'm born in India, nearby Darjeeling, Kharshong, when my father and mother's working in somewhere in Darjeeling, somewhere in Kharshong. I born there, but I really can't remember. But only I remember it's after we in Brekha. So those some moment I can remember, like my father is there, my grandmother of, like my father's mother, my grandfather Jigda Leshe Tunjong Jigda Yeshe Dorjes, the first Khandro, the Dakini consort, she was there. This only I remember those things, and beside that I don't remember much. But of course, nothing special happened during our young age. Like those I can't remember much actually, Ivan. Unless if you want to know something very particular thing.
No, just even if it's not from the first few years, what are some of Rinpoche's early memories? Even if it's just from a little bit later. Did Rinpoche then spend quite a bit of time in Brekha?
Oh yeah. What I remember it's my father, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche. It's a very, very known as very, very strict person, and very strict Rinpoche, strict master, very particular person. So what I remember is like a wake up in the morning, which we really don't like to wake up in the early in the morning. and Father, let us wake up early in the morning, then do those prayer. Even we don't know how to do the prayer, then he forced us to do those prayer. Wake up in the morning, stay in front of him, and those I can remember. And also, you know, like between Father and ourselves, we have some sort of a feeling also, like we really have us kind of scared, because Father is very strict. So we dare not to show up in front of him. That must, we can say this is not really scared, actually. This is part of respect. But we are very young, so we really don't know these are respect. We think this is like a scared one. So these things I remember. Otherwise, I really don't remember. And those age, like maybe I am red. 4, 5, 6, age of 4, 5, 6.
What was it like in your household growing up? Like, who was around in your house? Was it it was Rinpoche and your mother?
My mother was my sister. I don't remember my younger brothers, like the jumper and all. I don't remember. I remember my sister, Yeshe, and the elder one, like as those I remember. Like I also remember Rinpoche start to uh, doing like collecting those his first student from the village. People offer him the children to be his disciple, from the different village. They come from the different village and come in front of him and offer their children to be his disciple, like what you call gomchen and all. I think those are the first student for his life. So those I remember, like the bringing those young boy study under him, and we do pujas together, and those I remember. Because I went really, beside that, I really don't remember anything in those ages, actually.
Of course. In the what you remember from the Bhutan of your youth, what it was like at that time to now, what are some, and Bhutan has become, it's still, compared to the rest of the world, quite a rustic country, but it's modernized so much in your lifetime. What are, in terms of the feeling of the country from that time, or even, in your first 20 years or something, with the Bhutan of your youth until now, what are some of the things that stand out to you as big differences?
Okay. Well, once you start to feel what is the difference, that means you're no more the baby, no more like a kid. That means you're already grown up. So if you ask me question when I already grown up, like maybe like 10 something, 15, early teenage, then of course, uh, different feelings, then you see, I am not very exactly sure what age I was. So Rinpoche sent me to India, the Darjeeling, the under the Kangyur Rinpoche's guidance. There is one monastery in Darjeeling, the Kangyur Rinpoche's monastery. When I went there, unfortunately, Kangyur Rinpoche was not alive. And Tupu Pema Wangyal Rinpoche, Tupu Rangdola, and Chichen Rinpoche, and Kangyur Rinpoche's consort, they are there. And I think I am the age of 6, 7, something like that. So my father sent me there to study the Buddhism, start Buddhism from there. So this is those I remember. And during those days, we really, really hate father. We really hate father because in this age, he's sent to the like a jungle, even like a prison. This is what we feel. Like a young age, we don't like to be in the monastery, and monastery life is a totally different. So we hate father that during those days. So he sent there for like around, we stayed there like around 5 years. Then starting year, of course, it's very very difficult for stay there, far from parents, especially mother. We have so much attachment with the mother, not really with the father. Father have been very strict, so we have so much attachment with the mother. So staying far from the mother and at this age is really tough. And I even remember, we almost every day cry. Then after few months, like 1 year, then we are used to it. So I even remember, like after a few years, when I meet mother, I almost forgot mother's face or so. So we stay a little longer there. So these kind of feelings I remember. And of course, in our culture, in Buddhism culture, we believe that once you are belong to Rinpoche family or Tulku, they in that age people used to call me Tugu Garab. So they believe that once you are belong to Rinpoche family, from the earlier age you must study because order to teach others. So you have to train from the young age like us, like 4, 5. This is all tradition. Now this day we don't have that one. Those day, we believe in earlier age must send to the monastery to train. So that's why we have been trained by like that in a young age. So Thinley Norbu Rinpoche have a big hope on us that in the future, actually, we can benefit for Samson being, we can serve Nyingmapa, we can serve at least Dudjom lineage. So this is his wish. So that's why he sent it from the young age. So, yeah.
Was that you alone, or did you go with one of your siblings or a family member?
I was with my younger brother, Jampet. I was with a younger brother. Jampet was much younger than me.
Yeah.
He's like a baby actually at that time. So this is what I remember.
And then Rinpoche, you come from two rather extraordinary bloodlines with Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche as a paternal grandfather and Sonam Zangpo Rinpoche as a maternal grandfather. Can you share some early memories of your grandfathers, just when you spent time with them, when your memory kicks in of spending time with them, just sharing some early memories of each of them?
Okay. Unfortunately, this is really my unfortunate in one way that I didn't get chance to spend much time with my grandfather. My father's side grandfather, His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche. When I was a very young age, like a baby age, I was spending time with my parents in monastery, which is far from my grandfather. So my grandfather, I think during those days, he is busy in Kalimpong. I'm in Bhutan, and I don't have a such. I'm not matured enough to visit Dudjom Rinpoche. We don't know how important he is in our lineage. Generally, for the all Nyingmapa, people respect him. I'm not matured enough to understand this much. So that's why I'm with the family. I'm in a monastery. So this is my unfortunate in one way. I'm fortunate I have no time to spend with him. And of course, I took whole those Dudjom lineage initiation and transmission from my grandfather. Whatever I have right now is mainly from him. So Dudjom Lingpa, Dudjom Didol Ishito, just all lineage. And I received from my grandfather, the, the father side grandfather, who is Dudjom Rinpoche, Titali Dorje. Then, of course, these are all uh, because of Kangyur Rinpoche's monastery. I never forget their kindness. They are the one took me to the Dudjom Rinpoche place in Nepal to take supreme initiation, all initiation, whatever I had initiation till now, most of them, most important, it's all because of the Kangyur Rinpoche's uh, the son, Bema, Tuku Bema Wangje Rinpoche, especially Tuku Rangdola. Tuku Rangdola is the one, to guide us, to take care of us, to bring to my grandfather place to take empowerment, bring to the Dehradun to take Rinchen Turte. They are the one. So I don't have so much connection with dharma connection with my grandfather, Dudjom Rinpoche. I think it is because of the gap, age gap. And another thing, it's like my grandfather used to stay in Nepal, Kalimpong. We are in Bhutan. After that, I grown up a little bit. Then my grandfather, Dudjom Rinpoche, start to visit in Europe and America, so which is far from us. So I really fortunate is I receive all the Dudjom empowerment, the whole Dudjom empowerment and Dudjom in transmission I received from Dudjom Rinpoche. This is the only fortunate moment for me. And otherwise, as a grandfather and a grandson, we don't have beautiful moment with him. We have a little gap, not little, actually, much gap. So, but my mother's side grandfather, who is Lama Sonam Zangpo, I have more spent time with him more than my father's side grandfather, because we stay more in Bhutan. So, but still, because of my mother's side grandfather and myself, we have so much age gap. So when I was like 6, 7 year age of 6, 7, only those age I was with my grandfather. So that's why I can't remember much about spending time with my two grandfathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rinpoche. And then, as you mentioned, when you were quite young, you were fearful of your father out of respect. But then, famously, your father is your root teacher. When did that relationship when did you start seeing Rinpoche in that way? And when did that relationship shift from more of an ordinary father-son relationship to more of a guru-disciple relationship? Do you remember some of those times and stories around that?
Yeah, of course, I remember. The enemy, the biggest enemy, turned into my guru. This is what I know. When I was young, my father's very strict. When you are immature, you don't know the reality. So the advice we take it as like a scolding, and teachings we took it as like a what, scolding. So that's why I really, scared about father, and I don't like father because of the young age, and especially like Rangjung Woesel Rinpoche, uh, uh, took all his children to United States, for example, Burma, Yeshe, Ugen, and I left alone. So I feel really angry, why? And, why I'm not in bringing to America, those kind of, I hate him. So I'm immature. I don't understand the future. Then slowly, I start to go to the Mindrolling, also sent by Thinley Norbu Rinpoche. And slowly again, I went to Kangyur Rinpoche Monastery. Then I learned slowly. Then I start to realize the truth. Why Thinley Norbu Rinpoche left me in Bhutan. And, those things slowly. I think it's took a little longer actually to understand. Some the children, they understand the truth earlier, some later. Maybe I understand little later. Maybe when I start to age of 30, then I start to realize then why, I left it in Bhutan, not in America. And those things I still realize. Then early 40, then I start to have a more feeling to Thinley Norbu Rinpoche. And then become more. First, it's like an anime, then turn into little better to the father. Then after father feeling, then turn into root guru. So this is what between Thinley Norbu Rinpoche and with us. So you see, like right now, I am doing very well. I can say it looks like I'm praising myself, but it is true. This is what I believe. I'm doing very well. But this is what Thinley Norbu Rinpoche saw in earlier when he left me in Bhutan. If he took me to United States with his children in staying in New York, I don't think I will do well like what I'm doing now. Maybe I can become a good practitioner to stay with him and practice. But I don't think I can serve Dudjom lineage and my society, how I'm serving right now, I'm doing now. I don't think I can do it if I'm in the United States to stay with it. Stay with him, I can be good practitioner, but maybe not a good leader for serving the Dudjom lineage. So not maybe. This is what he saw me from the young age. That's why he left. So this thing I realized very slowly when I started like a 40 something, early 40, like 35. Then I start to have more feelings, more respect, So this is what I felt for Yab Rinpoche. So, you see, I have to tell you the truth. I didn't take any a whole lineage of Dudjom lineage transmission and initiation of my father, even though he's my root guru. But most of the important that I took from Yab Rinpoche, and that is also when I'm matured. When I'm taking from Dudjom Rinpoche, I was not mature. I don't understand. But after I understood little bit, then I start to take from Thinley Norbu Rinpoche. So not whole volume of Dudjom lineage, but most important part like a 3 rule, Krodhikali's initiation, Dorje Dolo, those important part I took from him. And also, the certain special teaching, not many, but certain very special teaching like a Garab Dorje Rinpoche and 7-line prayers, external, internal practice, chewing, those kind of little by little between America and Nepal during his in America, whenever I come to visit him. So I got those important teaching and which is really helped me a lot. Yeah.
And then, so when Rinpoche already explained a little bit about when you left home as a child to go to Darjeeling and study there, and then Mindrolling and Palyul after that. But can you share some stories about your training at Mindrolling and Palyul and some of the influential teachers that you had there, and people who really when they explained the Dharma, it started to make sense to you, when it took seed in your heart, how that happened and when that happened in your training, and just some stories about your time at Mindrolling and in your training.
Okay. When I was in Mindrolling, I think I'm still not matured yet, even though age is already considered as a matured, you're a teenage already, but mind is still like a kid's when I was in Mindrolling. So in Mindrolling, I focus more on learning rituals. I must learn ritual from Mindrolling because our Dinjong Tersar, the pujas, rituals, all are very, very close to Mindrolling. So if you learn from Mindrolling, it is much easier to learn in Dinjong Tersar, very strongly related to the Mindrolling. So my grandfather, my father, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche, myself, I mean, both of them, they study under Mindrolling. So that's why most of the Dudjom lineage meditations are different, but when comes to the ritual, puja, very strongly related to Mindrolling. So most of the pujas are, copy, or you can say copy from the Mindrolling tradition. So it's very related. That's why I went to the Mindrolling to learn. And of course, that is also instructed by Thinley Norbu Rinpoche to go there. And I remember in Nepal, I was with Kyabje Rinpoche in Nepal house. And there's a one Rinpoche, the late Rinpoche, very great Rinpoche, Palyul Zongnam Rinpoche, who is the founder of Mindrolling in India, who set up the first ground. That is the Palyul and Zongnam Rinpoche. And he came to visit Throma Nagmo Rinpoche in Nepal. And Zongnam Rinpoche told to Throma Nagmo Rinpoche that Dudjom Rinpoche have been studying in Mindrolling in Tibet, and you yourself study in Mindrolling. Now, why don't you send your children to the Mindrolling? This is what I remember. This is the one thing that Thinley Norbu Rinpoche sent me to the Mindrolling. So then, and Mindrolling, of course, I learned philosophy also, but more we focus on rituals like a puja. So I learned in Mindrolling more in the ritual things like a lama dance and how to be a dorje lopen, and how to be a umze, how to do a lama dance. These we focus on learning on those things. So during those time in Mindrolling, I'm very fortunate to have such a great teacher like the Pemake Tulku Jesse Rinpoche. He was my main teacher to teach me mostly the philosophy. And Kochen Rinpoche, I learned from him like dorsem, the pujas, handwriting, and so of course this is the two teacher in Mindrolling I learned from Kochen Rinpoche and Jesse Rinpoche. And I do have other teacher, but this is a class teacher only. The main teacher are there. Then after that, when comes to the philosophy to learn, then I went to, with the permission of Thinley Norbu Rinpoche and the permission of Kochen Rinpoche, and I went to Namdroling Penner Rinpoche's, the college, the university in Mysore. So I focused there on the learning philosophy, mostly in philosophy. At Mindrolling, I focus on puja and rituals. So under Vener Rinpoche, then I study more in philosophy, like around 6 year. I studied there. I supposed to complete 9-year course in same like my grandfather. He complete 12 year in Mindrolling in Tibet, and my father complete 9-year study in Mindrolling in Tibet. I supposed to complete 9 year at least in Mindrolling. I mean the Namdrolling in Mysore, but unfortunately after my mother passed away, then I start to come to East Bhutan. To Bhutan to lead those dharma activity. Then it's just, then I stuck in Bhutan doing those dharma activity. So one way it is something like obstacle to my study, but one way it is like a very great moment for me to start my dharma activity. When I was studying in Mysore, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche, when I came to Bhutan for winter holiday, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche told me that, okay, now you have to stay in Bhutan. Other siblings, other children are going to United States. Now you have to stay in Bhutan to lead Dudjom Darsar. So then every winter when I was studying every winter I go to Bhutan, especially in East Bhutan, to represent Trinidad Norbu Rinpoche. Trinidad Norbu Rinpoche have many small monastery, and his student, disciple, sponsor are there, and he sent me there as his represent. This is how I started, and he even built one small retreat house name under my name, Thepcho Garab Dorje. And he said, okay, I have one small retreat center under your name, and you have to start your dharma journey from there. So this is how I went there. But be frank with you, Ibe, I was not really happy. I think I'm not mature enough. During those time, I still prefer to go to United States with my sibling. So this is how I started to go to East Bhutan, especially in East Bhutan. Yeah.
I'm curious if in all of that time, if there was an early influence outside of your primary teachers, just someone that made a strong impression on you as a young person, like a regular schoolroom teacher, a neighbor, an elder, a diplomat, just somebody who you remember having a strong connection with outside of your traditional training that was kind of influential in your thinking as a young person.
This one, I don't really remember. Of course, I even studied together with my brother, Zongsar Kensei. So, of course, I also appreciate him. I was with him in Sikkim. So, whenever he go out of India, so he gave me some duty to take care of. That time he's also starting actually. He don't have a big monastery. He's starting from Sikkim, and he give me a job to take care about those, his monks and his monks. Not many actually, maybe 10 or 15, something like that. So this is also like now I know that I think this is also cost me like a training then, no, in future. So besides him, and I don't have any other relationship with beside Mindrolling and Vener Rinpoche. So not I can't remember actually.
Okay. Rinpoche was explaining to us that after you finished, or at your time in at Namdriling, you went to East Bhutan, and at that time, you just had a few students there that Rinpoche left you with and a few responsibilities. And then can you tell us just a little bit about the trajectory of that time and having very few students and, very few centers to, being truthfully one of the most influential teachers in the country. And, now you have tens or hundreds of thousands of students. Just how that happened from having few students and responsibilities in East Bhutan to growing into what you're doing now. What are some of the stories of how that happened?
Oh, okay. No, this is really good interview, good question. I really like to share this one to my student who believe on me and my sponsor, my supporter. I think it is very important for me to share those, how I started my Dharma journey. Yeah, it's very good. Thank you, Ivan, to let me share this things to my, what do you call, devotee or fan, is it? Who believe on me. It's good that I can share with them. Okay. When I was studying, I think I'm not even 20, I was studying in Mindrolling when Yab Rinpoche start to send me to Bhutan. So there is one village in East Bhutan called Bidum. And that the place you have to walk up whole day. It's like a very far. There's no car road. It is like a mountain. That is the place that Rinpoche sent me there. He said to go there and look after. So that time, there is around 6, 7, 8 young, not really monk, like a Gongchen, no? Like a wearing chupa. The village people offered to Yab Rinpoche under him to study and practice. And Rinpoche sent me there to look after them. So when I went there the first time, I met those like 6 or 7, maybe like age of 9, 6, or something like that. So whenever I have a winter vacation from Namdroling Monastery, I go there and teach whatever I can. I myself is uneducated that time, but whatever I can, I used to teach there at stays, spend time with them. Then I have a room to sleep. Actually, my father built me when there's a retreat center. I can stay there, but the boys, they are staying in the kind of like a bamboo house in some kind of hole that attached with a toilet. There's no such as toilet, a kitchen. They sleep there. Then after that, after 1 or 2 years, then I found it's really, really difficult for me to climb up and carrying all the ration like a grocery from the town. So it is very difficult. So then I thought of to move down to somewhere else near the road, where you can reach vehicles and car. Then I moved down to one of the place called Rangjung, where I have my monastery. And I found one place, and I asked someone that I want to buy that place, which is Rangjung. And that is one old man, it's belonged to him, and he offered me the hill, the Rangjung hill. It was not flat, it's a hill, and he offered me that one. Then after he offered me that one, and I cannot uh, build temple there. First of all, I have no money to build, and secondly, even though if I have money, it's difficult for me to make flat that mountain to build the temple or hostel, whatever. Then what I did is below that Rangjung hill, there's a one field, rice field, like a football ground type of rice field, the flat one, has belonged to one of the East Bhutan, the farmer. And I hire that land for the time being. And I told him that right now I cannot build the temple or whatever in my place because first of all it's a hill. Secondly, I don't have a money to build that, and I want to hire your that field rice. And he hired me that one, and he stopped planting rice, and he hired me that. It's not that big actually, quarter of football ground actually. So not that big. Then I built the bamboo house. I don't know. It's not bamboo proper house. It's I don't know how to say in English. In Bhutan and India we have a bamboo. We use for the roof, not the shade. So we make we ordered that one, and we partition wall everything made by that bamboo house, the bamboo sheet. Then I spent around for 5 to 6 years there, and I move all the boys from the Bidung to down, and we stayed there. I make one bamboo house, and one side, the small room, I stayed there, and another room, little bigger, all those boys stayed there. And how we survive is like I have two Thinley Norbu Rinpoche's old student, Kunso Lama and Tashi Lama. They are my helper, and I sent to the village to beg for rice season. They beg for the rice, and I also send for the corn season. I send there to beg and this is how we got the meals, the food for my lama, and also for my boys actually who are underneath. And also, whenever I come out from winter vacation from the Mindrolling, then I go to village to do some puja, initiation. It's not, my intention is not really for the dharma. I just need some money to feed those boys. I don't have none that I'm all or most of the boys. And during those days, I think it's like 40 years before, right? People offer like a 1 rupee, 2 rupee. This day we don't have 1 rupee, 2 rupee anymore. So those days we have. Then people would start to offer 1 rupee, 2 rupee after I perform puja or initiation. Then that money, I bring back to the Rangjung, and some of money keep it with those boys for expenditure, and some of the money I bring myself to my own expenditure. So this is how I started in Rangjung. Then really it was very tough time. In the summer it's rain, the water drop inside, and we have to wake up middle of the night to wherever dropping the water, you have to cover by plastic in the middle of night. There is no light. You have to use candle and all. And below our floor, there's a lots of dogs, the street dogs are sleeping and making so much noise. And I spend like that. And many people think that, like he is a Thinley Norbu Rinpoche's son, there will be no money problem, can be to any success. And some think that, he's a Dzongser Khenche's younger brother, there will be no problem. But beside Thinley Norbu Rinpoche's blessing and his blessing, I don't have any financial support. Be true. Maybe this is what Thinley Norbu Rinpoche trained, to let me start in that difficult way for the success future. This is what I realized only later. So then what happened is, one day, certainly that time my mother was alive, And one time there's one Singaporean who very close with my mother, and he invite mother and myself. So he invite, and we are, my mother and myself, planning to go to Singapore. Then I start to dream about, okay, now I'm going first time in outside Bhutan. No, I can get some money to build hostel for my boys. Then we plan. After we plan, we make a passport, and certainly my mother passed away. Then it was cancelled. The trip was cancelled. And after 1 year, then I start, and that same person invite me. Then I went there the first time in my life, Singapore. Then I got some money, and even though like some Malaysian also invited me nearby Singapore, I also in between Malaysia and Singapore, I bought some money. Then what happened is, then I go back to Bhutan. Then I start to build one Bhutanese style using rock and mud and wood, the one hostel for one small room for me, and another is for my lama and my lama Phunso and all. We built that one. Then I still remember, then, after finishing the money, we were middle of the building that house. So I start to go back to Singapore and Malaysia because I got some idea. I got some connection in Singapore and Malaysia. I request them, I want to come again to do some dharma activity for rest fun. Then I remember, then I went to New Delhi to apply a visa. During those days, you have to apply visa manually, not like online. So much they will ask you to submit letter and this and that. Then I went to New Delhi to apply a Malaysia visa. Then that took like 1 week, 2 weeks. They don't issue my visa. They are asking for many different kind of paper. Then I have to stay in one of the hotel in Tibetan area, Majnukatila. I stayed there. During those days, it's like 100 plus for the room. So, but during those days, 100 also quite big amount actually. Then the visa is not approving, fast. Then I have to stay day by day and week, Then I finish my money. Then I remember the first time I went to Singapore and Malaysia, people offer me like a Walkman and also like the during those days this cassette video camera, I bought this too with me. Then I sell this Walkman and camera to pay hotel, uh. So this is like, how I started my life in East Bhutan. So, but of course, in East Bhutan, people, they are very generous. They can offer the manpower. They come for build for me. But the only thing is, the money I have to serve from outside. So this is what I'm trying to go outside. So so that's why I always appreciate Bhutan and especially East Bhutan people. So whatever I am right now, beside my guru's blessing, and they are the one making succeed what I am right now. I always think that our root guru blessing is like a sunshine, When you plant something, you need the sunshine. And you also need the water or fertilizer. So I always think the Guru's blessing, or when I start my Dharma activity in Bhutan, Guru blessing and my Guru's blessing is like a sunshine. So, but sunshine is not good enough to grow whatever you plant. You need a fertilizer, you need a water, So these East Bhutan people, my village people, they are very simple, poor family. They are the one to be my fertilizer. So they are the one, who lift me up like a gold, like a gold. Gold is always under earth, right? Underground. So if no one take out from the earth, no one will know. So the people who are surrounded me in East Bhutan, they lift me up and show to this mold. This is the mold. So so that's why these days I'm doing very well. So Guru's blessing and those simple family, hardworking, mainly for physical, So I go out for the search money and bring into the Bhutan. And these people walk physically. This is how I done it. So now, when I face some difficulty, I don't feel it because the biggest difficulty I already faced it in the starting time. So therefore, right now, really, I'm flying. I'm flying in the sky, really. During those days, even don't know how to walk. After a few years, 10 years, 20, 10 years, then I know how to run. It was, I don't know how to walk, right? When I'm starting that. Then slowly, I know how to run. I'm getting faster. Now, these days, even faster than running, I'm flying on the sky. Really. So I'm doing very well. I don't expect more success than what I am right now. I don't expect, I should expect what I can. I don't expect like, okay, President of America, the Donald Trump. I don't expect that. So whatever I expect, I fulfill that one. So, mm, so, so, so I'm happy. I'm happy now. I'm having so much love and caring for support my dharma activity. I'm doing very well now.
Yes, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, you're most well known publicly for your activity around the Chöd practice of Throma Nagmo, and the many people around the world that you lead in this practice, in groups ranging from hundreds to tens of thousands at a time. And I'll never forget my first trip to Bhutan when I was accompanying Gyab Rinpoche, and how touching it was to see these groups everywhere we went, practicing in such synchronicity and with such fervent devotion. Everyone from taxi cab drivers to high-powered ministers practicing together in perfect harmony. That's been one of the most impactful experiences of my life, seeing that and trying to be a part of that practice since. When did this become your primary focus? And can you tell me a little bit about why you made the decision to dedicate your life to this particular practice so specifically?
Okay. Oh, once again, Ivan, thank you so much for this question. This question, if when I answer this answer, also very important actually. I really like to share this answer to everywhere because these days the trauma practitioner is everywhere in the world, really. So this trauma practice come from where? This group come from where? How it started? Yes, people should know, right? So thank you, Ivan, to question about this. I really like to share. I did actually in my Facebook, but if you help me to share this one, then it's really good that people will know. Okay. Uh trauma group, the trauma practice. Trauma practice is not created by me. It's created by Dudjom Lingpa, not me. Trauma practice itself, the Chöd practice itself is not created by me. But it is also true that everyone knows that the layman group, the trauma practitioner group, we call Throma Tsoppa, Krodhikali association, especially in the lay people group. So this is supposed to be, I am the one, the form in Bhutan, start from the Bhutan. But I'm not saying that Krodhikali practice I create. I'm not saying that. But I created the group for the lay people. So this is mostly people knows. But these days there is so many Trema group. Some of them I created, some of them other Rinpoche created. So there were so many. So now let me tell you how I start to create this Trema group and why. Many years ago, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche told me that, Bhutan, the Thimphu, the Thimphu stupa, which is built by my father, instructed by, designed by Dudjom Rinpoche, and sponsored by Bhutan, the royal family, for wealth, for the welfare and and peace and harmony. So they built this stupa in Thimphu. So Thinley Norbu Rinpoche told me once that this stupa is very, very precious. And in the world, the newly built stupa, this will be the most precious one. And old one, maybe like a Bodh Gaya, and Nepal Buddha, of course, they're the old one. But a newly built stupa, this Thimphu will be the most precious one. Even though it's not big, it can be bigger, much double, triple bigger than this one, but not precious as this one, newly built stupa. The reason is that this old design, statue, and everything is instructed, advised by Dudjom Dorje when he was in Kalimpong. And Thinley Norbu Rinpoche was like what do you call supervisor during the build that stupa. So he said, I got those old design instruction. Whenever he confused, he always asked Dudjom Rinpoche. And sometimes he go to Dudjom Rinpoche's place to get instruction. Sometimes Dudjom Rinpoche send letter in the handwriting to how to build. And that's why Rinpoche said this is very precious. And he said, you people go there and doing puja far away. You even don't go to stupa to take a blessing, to Kora. And he told me like that. Then I offered my word, not really like a promise, but I offer my word that, okay, now from this year, I will start to do a chop offering once in the year for 3 days in Kimbo Stupa. I offer him a promise to him. Then I start to do Throma offering. I invite all grandfathers, Dudjom Rinpoche's disciple, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche's disciple, some other Dudjom lineage disciple, mostly a yogi, not Champa like a Lama Nyingkula. Lama Nyingkula is I think if I'm not mistaken, he's the first Lama that I invited, Lama Nyingkula, and there's another he came with Lama Nyingkula, the funny Lama Ching. He passed away from he came here also. And many Dudjom Rinpoche's disciple, those I invite. I pitch the tent, I invite them, and we perform 3 days of offering. And one day I was sitting on the throne and I saw there's a few of ladies, this Lama Nyingkula and the Lama Nyingkula's disciple, whoever's wife, the wife, they are also sitting there and using Damaru and, reading together with us. Then I suddenly thought, oh, okay, I should make a layman people group of Throma practice. Then after that, when I used to come to New York every year, remember? And even I was young to visit Kyabje Rinpoche here, stay here for 1 week. Then I told him I want to form a Therma group in Bhutan. I told him, okay, order to spread and propagate Dudjom lineage. The best way to propagate Dudjom lineage is to build temple, a temple of nun, and to educate them, to a temple of monk, to educate them, university. So I told him, yes, maybe I can. If I get a good sponsor, I can. But I told him, even I can build a big big temples, hostel, I able to afford the meals for them. But these days, so less monk coming in. All the Bhutanese people, Tibetan society, sending their children to the school and college, not to the monastery, not like before, getting very less every year, less by less. Then I told him, how about I form a Therma group for the lay people, let them do. So, because propagating dharma means not meaning of build big stupa or big temple or golden temple. It's not this is not a big beneficial for spreading dharma. Spreading dharma means you must make more people follower, human being, not a house, not a temple. I'm not saying that it's a useless to build a temple. Of course, blessing is there, for the land. But if there is no monks and nuns, it will be like only blessing, you cannot propagate. Then I told him like that, and Rinpoche said, it sounds good, sounds good, but you must do very carefully. Dudjom Lingpa time, Dudjom Jigda Ishidorji time, Throma is, they keep very secret practice. They don't do openly, Then when you do openly, people might criticize on you, and you might get, he said, kando kache, means like a punishment from Dharmapala, because you are doing something wrong, So he said, but you have to be very careful. You can do it, but very careful. Follow the proper way. So that's why I got a permission from him. Then I set up Therma group in Thimphu, capital of Bhutan. Then mostly a ladies actually. So around maybe like 50, 60, I started from our house in Kyabje Rinpoche house in Thimphu. There's a no hall, the sitting room, the small sitting room where when you guys came, you sleep in the sitting room. There is the place. So I started from then. Then slowly, become 100, 200 in Thimphu. Then slowly, even other district, in Bhutan, we have a 20 district. Other district also request me, please set up Therma group for there. And slowly, I start to make a group. I visit, this is how I start. And slowly, never like a Nepal, Sikkim, and even like Malaysia, Taiwan, everywhere, whoever started from me, they are the ones that invited me to form a Therma group there. So this is how I started. So like right now in Bhutan, I have Therma group 182 Therma group, 182 Therma group. Each group have not less than 100. Some group like 1,000, like a Thimphu Therma group like over 3,000. So I have many. I try to build each Therma group have each temple. This is my wish. This is my mission actually. I have a 182 Therma group in Bhutan, not include outside and only in Bhutan. So I am success to build 96 temples in Bhutan. So this is success of Throma. The success of Throma is success for the Dudjom lineage. If success of the Dudjom lineage is success of spreading Nyingmapa lineage. If success of Nyingmapa spreading Nyingmapa lineage is success of Tibetan Vajrayana. If success of Tibetan Vajrayana is success of for the Buddhism to spread. So this is the how I started. Now these days other Rinpoche, also forming this group, which is very good. Now in like Nepal, Darjeeling, there are many Tamang Throma group, Sherpa Throma group, really, so many, even in Europe also, even New York City also. I have my Throma group there, but other Throma group also there. So this is how I started. And also the concern is some might think like, okay, if Dudjom Lingpa and my grandfather Dudjom Digdalishe keep it very secret, this practice, and why I am doing openly. They might think I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing very wrong against our lineage, I'm sure Thinley Norbu Rinpoche will stop me, right? Instead of stopping me, he even instructed me to form a group in Kuzamgansan. Here we are doing it. So this one we must know. Buddha said that my teaching is not necessary to follow exactly what I said. In the 7-branch practice, Gangla, Kamduru, Chokuru, Korwa, Kul, that 7th branch in the Throma. Even 7 branches everywhere practice. Kajupa, Nyingmapa, all lineage have the 7 branch. One of the 7 branch teaching said, my teaching is not necessary to follow exactly what I said. You can modify according to student, according to time. You can modify, If it is not beneficial, you don't have to carry on. If it is really, really beneficial to the sentient being to practice, you can modify. So that's the reason then I do little bit open the Throma practice to the public. And of course, when I start Throma practice, some Rinpoche are not happy with me. And they even made rumors that, oh, this is wrong, how can you let lay people to wear meditation bell? It was like a Dudjom Lingpa, the great master they were, Milarepa they were, but not suitable for the lay people. They start to talk about that when I started. So that is really true. Like a meditation short skirt, angra, is for the great practitioner, not for the lay people, But I let them wear. So people start to talk, and few of them. But for there, I always explain that we have to modify. But I am not doing 100%. I think let me take a good opportunity for me to share this information since you're asking. It's really beneficial to the people. I'm not doing openly to the Throma practitioner, really. I'm doing certain thing very strict. Even like a Kunzam Gasal retreat, I do question and answer whenever who want to take a supreme initiation. Krodhikali, I do. Are you a Buddhist? Or which Buddhism you are following? Nyingma Paka Jupa, And this kind of question. And I also questioned, can you promise that after you're taking supreme initiation, you will do practice without missing, at least daily practice? I do still strict things, I don't give Krodhikali initiation to the public. I don't. Everyone they knows. So I don't do that. I don't do too much strict like before. If I do too much strict like before, no one will come. And if it's too loose and too open, it's also not respect. The blessing will be not there. So I'm doing it. In like a Bhutan, let me tell you, in Bhutan, I make a Therma practitioner ID card. And people complain, some people complain that, oh, how come too modern? For the practicing Dharma, why you need a ID card? It's unnecessary, So let me tell you why I create ID card. Because I give initiation, supreme in Krodhikali initiation have a two. One is root initiation and one is supreme initiation. Root initiation can be given to the public because there is no such samaya to take promise. But supreme initiation, I cannot give to the public. They have a great samaya. Dudjom Lingpa time, according to history, Dudjom Lingpa gave only not more than 7 disciples. Also, they take to the forest or jungle, very secret. So these days I give to 1,000 people. So what I do is, why I create ID card is, I give initiation only to the who have a Therma practitioner card. If they don't have Therma practitioner card, I don't give. So that is the one reason. Now the concern is where to that get card, ID card. And is it easy? Or you can get or buy? No, not like that. In Bhutan, I have 182 Therma group. Each group have a one represent Lama sent by Rangjung Monastery or sent by I appointed, 182 Lama who teach Therma. So they have a list, their own area group, and they have to register attendant like a school and college. So 1 year I make a rule. 1 year have a 12 month. Each month have a 2 puja, Guru Rinpoche puja and Dakini puja. At least there's 2 they must attend. That means 1 year, 12 month, 1 time, 2 time is 24 puja, right? If they attended 24 puja within 1 year, if they have attended, then this Lama will give card, ID card. So when they comes to attend my supreme initiation, I don't ask question. Where are you belong from? Can you do promenade? Do you know how to read? If you don't know how to read, it's useless to take a supreme initiation. You're breaking samaya. They must know how to read. It's not like a chanting Om Mani Padme Hum, or not like a go attend Chewang initiation in which you don't have to do anything. But the Therma practice is once you take initiation, you must practice. If you don't know how to read, you don't know how what for you're taking empowerment. So that means once they show a card, that means they know how to read, and they know how to use melody, and without Damaru, Kangling bell, they will not issue the card. So that's why when they show card, I don't ask question. I straight away give. It's easier for me. Otherwise, I have to ask question, to take long time for 1,000 people. So this is the one of the reason that I make a card. So this is, I think people should know, So this is what I'm doing. So now really, Therma is becoming so good. I'm so happy that because of the Therma, there's so many Dudjom disciples are there. All the 100,000 people are doing Therma. And whoever doing Therma, when you go to their room, you will see Dudjom Lingpa photo, Dudjom Jigdal Dorje photo, Thinley Norbu Rinpoche's photo. This is what I want, This is my main mission, that to spread Dudjom Rinpoche's photo, Dudjom Tersar's name. This is my duty, right? So that's why I am trained. That's why Thinley Norbu Rinpoche kept me to the Bhutan to do this job. So I'm doing well. So, okay. This is the history, how I started Therma group, and what is the reason to start the Therma group. Why creating Therma group is a two benefit. For personal, for you, for your own accumulation, But for me, my benefit is spread Dudjom lineage, Nima Paline Dudjom lineage. So this is my benefit. So there's a true benefit both. Your benefit is but doing practice acceleration and purification. My benefit is spreading Dudjom lineage. So both of have a Dudjom lineage. I mean, benefit. So, yeah, this is the history. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that, Rinpoche. It's beautiful to hear about it. No, it's perfect. No, it's nice to hear a little bit more detail.
Yeah. I think it's really good, right? People should know what we are doing.
Yeah.
It really know. And also, in the same time, whether in your question, whether there is a question or not, I don't know, but I want to say this thing. I always tell my student what is the difference, my trauma practitioner and me, what is the difference? I always say, to make sure you must understand, I always say, I am also trauma, and you also trauma. The difference is you are trauma practitioner. I am a not trauma practitioner. I am a trauma promoter. I always say like that, My duty is to promote trauma, to teach you trauma, give you initiation, But comes to the practice, I'm at zero, very, very less than zero. So I always teach them, grab my teaching, grab my empowerment, which I took very, very warm from my grandfather, from my father. I can pass you that. And I know how to use Tamaru. And I know how to teach to cut off desire and hatred. But only thing is I fail to cut my ego. This is what I teach that, So all should know that I'm a not practitioner at all. And what I'm doing, I'm happy actually. If I practice myself, stay in the mountain, the 3 years, some said, oh, Rinpoche, you're getting old, You better stay in the 3-day retreat, good for you. Some did advice like that. Of course, this is also right. Many people doing 3-year retreat. But doing 3-year retreat is very, very simple for me. I have a beautiful house in Paro, I have beautiful wife who take care so much. I have a very beautiful attendant, like a more than family, Kocho Dema. They serve me so well. I can do practice, 3 year, like a holiday for me. But I always think, okay, within this 3 year, if I do retreat myself, it will miss Kunzang Gasaru retreat, 7-day retreat for 3 years. And there is a 1,000 and 1,000, like in Bhutan, East Bhutan, over 12,000 attendant for the 3-day retreat. Pitch 12,000, and Bodhigaya, over 12,000 trauma practitioner are attending every 2 years. So this will miss if I do retreat. So this is what I thought maybe I should, go around since I'm healthy, since I can do it. I go everywhere to, do this trauma Damaru business, Gangling business, selling Gangling. I'm not selling, I'm just joking actually. Like that. I think this is also people should know I'm a not really practitioner. And they are practitioner, they are trauma promoter.
For those who are listening who are not as familiar with Rinpoche and his life and his teachings, Rinpoche travels constantly between these different groups and tirelessly, almost, without having a home. Rinpoche's continuously traveling between the different areas of Bhutan where he has centers and to the other countries where there's trauma practitioners. And Rinpoche's really, it's so inspiring to see Rinpoche's dedication to promoting these teachings and supporting the practitioners all around the world in so many groups. And they don't have to go to the places to see Rinpoche. Rinpoche is always going to the places to see them, and it's so kind, as a teacher and promoter to go to wherever the desire is for the practice. Rinpoche always is going to those places.
Yeah, I am trying. This is degeneration. I went early generation, disciple go to teacher place. Now it's a degeneration. Teacher go to disciple place. So if it is beneficial, right? It is beneficial. So must go, must go. Till now, wherever I go, I think sometimes I think I'm praising myself, but wherever I go, it's really comes beneficial actually, like New York City or you come to Kunzan Gatsal. So it's quite beneficial, to make more Dharma practitioner. So, so the miracle thing is sometimes I don't believe myself, I have so much negative attitude. I have so much negative attitude, like using iPhone, putting gel on my hair, wearing Prada bag, those lemon attitude I have. Normally people don't like that kind of master, They like the simple one, very simple, humble one, which I don't have at all. But still, very surprisingly, people still believing me, following me. So that means whoever following me, that means they are grabbing my quality. Quality means like my positive one, my teaching, I think they are ignoring my bad attitude. But otherwise, degeneration, people always see the negative part, right? Where you're drinking, like you are smoking, they see those parts. They don't see the teaching part, if they're teaching well. This is our human nature. I also can like that. Thinley Norbu Rinpoche is like I always say Thinley Norbu Rinpoche is my root guru, But sometimes Thinley Norbu Rinpoche scolding, the harsh word, it make me angry. It's a human being, But only thing is that the anger mind, you suddenly you have to realize, oh, this is wrong. You must confess, This is important. But some they get angry, then continue angry, then they abandon your guru, That's a wrong. But it is impossible that you never get angry. Even your root guru scold you or say bad things about you, you don't get angry. Impossible. Maybe like less or more will be, but impossible, impossible. We are human being. Anger is there, you know. So disappointment is there. We have no wisdom. What our guru said is we don't understand sometimes, So sometimes guru's teaching we feel like a scolding, So therefore, I have so much negative attitude. So, but still people loves me. Still people believe me. Otherwise, how come there's so many Dharma practitioners follow me, right? So at that point, I'm really really lucky. No, I'm very fortunate, and I can say Dharma practitioners are more serious than Lama practitioners. Really, really. And in like let's say like in Bhutan, I saw those who are sick, like I don't know how to say in English. They carry the bag like they pass the urine
Mm.
in this kind of thing, or the kidney problem.
Yeah, we have to do dialysis.
Yeah, dialysis. They carry the small bag and they trip inside. They have to carry all the time. I saw some of them in the retreat in the on the mountain. They're carrying like that. Wait, if I sick like that, I don't think I can do that. This really, really, there's so many serious practitioners are coming from the trauma practice. Yeah. I also want to share that one day in Paro retreat, 3-day retreat. After second day, there is a one army, the soldier came with a small baby in the gate, in the main gate, in the border. And he was requesting me, the mother, is in the retreat. She's in the retreat. And the baby is crying like anything every night, every day. And he's worried that it might stop breathe and it might die. And please can need mother to feed at least few minutes milk. And I announced in the loudspeaker, to where is the mother, because like 10,000 people, it's difficult to search. And finally, we found her. And I told her, please, go and feed her, And she refused. I already finished second day. Now third day, I don't want to spoil, She don't want to listen. So you see, in the Dharma view, she's doing perfect, right? But the layman way, she's a bad mother. I didn't force her to do that. Force her to go to their feet, I just, I'm also father, I told her once, you go to her feet. But when she don't listen, I don't want to force her. It's something like spoiling her pure practice, right? This kind of things coming out from Therma practitioners. So, doing very well, actually, very well. And so many those farmers, village farmer the farmer uneducated. They want to join Therma practice. That's why like a whole year they invite some lama to form a class to learn how to read. They want to join Therma. Some farmer people, village people, like that. Even like it's just few days ago, some Sharpa, Yolmo, the old age ladies, they also said the same thing. They have been studying how to read Therma because they want to take supreme initiation to become Therma practitioner. So many nice things is happening here in Therma practice, actually. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's a beautiful conclusion to this. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Rinpoche, for taking the time and sharing some lovely experience and stories with some people who are familiar with your teachings and are devotees, and some people who will be hearing about you and from you for the first time. So yeah, thank you so much for joining for this.
You, Ivan. Thank you to you. We also need that. If I am practitioner myself, I don't need those, interview and show posting on the Facebook. I don't need it, that one. But now I need those one because I told you I'm a promoter, So who listen this thing, they change their mind. Whoever doing prayer, Throma practice, they build up more confident on that even after listening these stories, So, I'm a promoter. So you are my partner of promoting, my business partner, Dhammadru business partner.
Well, thank you for all the very beneficial promoting and teaching that you do, Rinpoche, and for joining us today for this interview.
Thank you, Ivan.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Subscribe on your favorite platform to be notified when new episodes are available.